evening. It's 6 o'clock on Wednesday, February 8th, 2017. Welcome and thank you for joining us tonight for the English edition of Aura News, where we bring you today's top stories translated into English every weeknight. The International Monitoring Operation, otherwise known as IMO, has officially arrived in Tirana. The operation is chaired by Genevieve Ruiz Calavera and has 5 other members, 3 judges from the European Union and 2 from the United States. The International Monitoring Operation will be one of the crucial features of the judicial reform. The operation chair gave a press conference where she guaranteed professionalism, impartiality, and the determination to fulfill the mission according to the law. In her statement, she said, "During the vetting process, the International Monitoring Operation will have a monitoring and coordinating role. The IMO does not make decisions. All decisions in this process will be made by Albanian authorities. We will start work tomorrow. A group of qualified experts from the European Union and the United States will be short-term observers to monitor the first phase of the process, which is the selection of Albanian members for the vetting bodies. In the first phase, the International Monitoring Operation will draft recommendations from the selection of candidates who have applied for the vetting bodies to send to Parliament through the Ombudsman's office. It will then be the Albanian authorities' responsibility to complete and process and appoint the candidates to the vetting bodies. The second phase will begin once the first phase has been completed and the vetting bodies have been established. The long-term international observers of the EU, in cooperation with the US, will then be brought in to monitor the entire vetting process, explains the head of IMO, giving additional assurance that they will work with professionalism. The IMO will operate with professionalism, impartiality, and in accordance to the law. We believe in the Albanian authorities' cooperation. The European Commission's recommendation for Albania was very clear. The EC said that Albania has made progress with the 5 priorities, but highlighted the continuation of the reforms, especially the implementation of the judicial reform. The vetting process is vital to open the door to negotiations, said Calavera. The International Monitoring Operation is composed of 3 members from the European Union, a Belgian prosecutor, a German judge, and an Italian judge, and 2 members from the United States, a member of the Anti-Corruption Department, and a prosecutor from Wisconsin State. The International Monitoring Operation will begin work after the Ombudsman has finalized the lists of candidates for the Independent Vetting Commission. Earlier today, the head of the International Monitoring Operation held a meeting with the Assembly Speaker, Ilir Meta, and Prime Minister Edi Rama, and an informative meeting with journalists. The Parliamentary Law Commission met today where the Socialist Party and the Socialist Movement for Integration members argued over the Code of Criminal Procedure amendment during discussions for the judicial reform. The new Minister of Justice, Petrit Vasili, said that the draft being discussed, though it holds the signatures of high-level experts, does not reflect the recommendations of the Ministry of Justice. Also, the chairman of the Socialist Movement for Integration parliamentary group critiqued the procedure being followed to amend the laws, returning to the debate regarding the role of high-level experts in the judicial reform. The Socialist MP, Mr. Manya, stated he wanted to remind the Socialist Movement for Integration members that 2 years ago, they agreed that reviewing the law should be a parliamentary process. Earlier, the new Minister of Justice proposed a few changes to the Code of Criminal Procedure, a suggestion that tapping should only be done with a court decision, also refusing to take testimony of secret witnesses as definitive proof. And he suggested establishing a judicial police directory, which the minister said should be under the prosecution's trust. The Prosecutor General, Adriatik Llalla, held a meeting with his Belgian counterpart to further strengthen cooperation on issues of global importance. The primary focus of the meeting was joint measures against terrorism. Mr. Llalla informed his counterpart about the steps Albanian authorities have taken to combat and reduce cases of Albanian citizens being recruited to armed conflicts in the Middle East. The Prosecutor General reaffirmed his position, saying, Our country will continue to be an ally of Belgium and any other country whose primary objective is to maintain and strengthen security for everyone, regardless of ethnicity and religion. The Belgian federal prosecutor familiarized Mr. Llalla with the issue of Albanian criminality in Belgium, mainly the illegal exploitation of prostitution and the trafficking and distribution of narcotics. Responding to these concerns, the Prosecutor General asserted that the prosecution, as well as other Albanian law enforcement institutions, will continue to exchange information with the Belgian authorities, as well as to intensify investigations into the identification and confiscation of assets of Albanian citizens who are involved in criminal groups in Belgium. Llalla also assured his counterpart that Albanian authorities are showing high interest in the fight against narcotics, and as a concrete example of this commitment, the Attorney General mentioned the Albanian National Security Council meeting where they discussed just a few days ago drug problems driven by a particular case, an investigation which was begun specifically with Belgian authorities. Also responding to the interest of the Belgian federal prosecutor, Mr. Llalla pointed out the progress of the criminal trial against the former MP, Mark Froku, who is charged with murder in Belgium, another investigation begun with the Belgian authorities. Democratic Party Chairman Lulzam Basha was in Fier today, where he invited the citizens to join the opposition's protest on February 18th. The DP chairman accused the government of keeping incriminated people in government with the aim to steal the elections. Mr. Basha said that the opposition's movement against the government will start on February 18th in Tirana and will spread all around Albania. The government is not investing in citizens' needs. They are making investments for their own benefits. They do not keep the citizens' immediate needs. The Prime Minister is afraid of free and honest elections. Edi Rama rejects electronic voting. Our February 18th protest is against the government, which destroyed this country, declared the DP chairman. Mr. Basha was also in Lushnja, where he met with farmers. After listening to their concerns, the DP chairman gave assurances that investments will be focused on agriculture once he comes into power. The opposition leader promised that his government will undertake social reforms with the aim to improve the lives of Albanian citizens. The Minister of Interior, Samir Tahiri, held a meeting today with representatives of various security companies where he said that private security officers cannot offer security if they are paid less than minimum wage. The minister asked private companies to improve their human resources and to offer better salaries to private police officers. Minister Tahiri said, private police need to be held to high modern standards. We cannot expect these standards if they are paid less than the minimum wage, which is 33,000 Albanian lek per month. The Ministry of Interior and the state police will inspect the standards offered by private companies and make sure the security offers are paid according to the law. You have a month. A month is enough for you to implement legal obligations. You should meet all the obligations within a month, paying any private police officer in your employ at least the minimum wage. The Minister of Interior criticized the role of private police to public security, saying, "The private police do not function the way they should. I have noticed problems that are not small. There are problems in human resources related to having elderly police officers and low salaries. The state police has only 8,700 officers. You have more. You have 9,000 police officers, but their contribution is zero. They do nothing. Private police officers should be an added force to security. It is intolerable that there are companies which have not met their legal obligations. The state police have been informed up to 11 minutes after several criminal events," said Tahiri. The Minister of Interior declared that robberies, such as the one at Rinas Airport, happened because the privately contracted police failed to respect the contract, adding that the investigations are on the right path. When asked about the implementation of the law on additional security measures, the Minister of Interior said that it is being discussed with the stakeholders. The Albanian Institute of Statistics, or Instat, released its official data for January today, and it shows Albania's consumer price index stood at 2.8% in January, an increase due mainly to the appreciation of food and beverage prices. Instat estimated that the Consumer Price Index was 1.5% in January of 2016. According to the Instat data, the year-on-year growth of January was pushed up largely by the food and non-alcoholic beverages group, which increased by just over 2 percentage points. The transport group followed with 1.17 percentage points, and the different goods and services group contributed with 0.15 percentage points. The price of vegetables has increased, with the potato increasing by 24.8%. Fruit prices increased by 8.8%, sugar by 6.6%, and the milk, cheese, and eggs group by 4.9%. Further price increases are seen in the other goods and services, with an increase of 3.2%, transportation by 2.8%, entertainment by 3.1%, and the tobacco and alcoholic beverages group by 0.9%. The prices for the clothing and footwear and educational services groups each contributed 0.02 percentage points, and the communications and health groups both contributed 0.01 percentage points. According to Instat, the groups to have shown a decrease in price are oil and meat. Oil prices have gone down by 1.8%, and meat prices decreased by 0.5%. That's all for our English edition this evening. Please join us again Monday through Saturday at 6 p.m. for your local news in English. My name is Mari, and on behalf of Aura News, thank you and good night.